on with our next plenary. Now, this is a very important conversation, talking about securing an enduring financial future. And this plenary is brought to you courtesy First Bank PLC. Can we please put our hands together for First Bank? Our panelists are here, so I'll just welcome them without further ado. A round of applause for the Chief Sparkler of Sparkle FB, Uzoma Dozier. Please join us on stage. All right, Uzoma will join us shortly. I think, all right. Up next, let's welcome the MD CEO Lifecard International Investment Limited, Grace Ofure Ibakomo. Can we do that again for Grace? Thank you. Joining us virtually is a U.S. Army veteran, cloud architect, board member, Coronet 48, Abigail Marks. Abigail is joining us virtually. Thank you very much. Can we please celebrate Abigail? Abigail is joining virtually. And I'd like to also welcome our moderator, founder, chief analyst of Nairametrics, Ugode Obichukwu. Can we please put our hands together for him? Okay, and I'd like to welcome the chief sparkler, Sparkle MFB, Uzoma Dozier, to join us on the platform as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how we do. Please, we work within timing, very strict timing for our moderators. And if you'd like to read the profile of our panelists, kindly download the Wimbiz app. Their profiles are on the app as well. Thank you very much.
Hello. All right. Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. This is my very first session I will ever be moderating at Wimbiz, and it's an amazing sea of beautiful women that I'm seeing here. Flanking me to my right is Dozier. We have Abigail behind me, and then Grace here. So, how many of you want to, get an insight into what NFTs are, blockchain, Bitcoin, metaverse, fintech? Who wants to be the next unicorn? Who wants to own the next unicorn here? All right, fantastic. So we're going to be discussing the new tech, the future of tech, basically. This plenary is called Securing an Enduring Financial Future. And as we all know, the world has changed. The world is changing. The way you define financial future now, it's not, the way it was maybe 10 years ago. How many of you have kids that would typically come to you and say, "Mommy, give me some money, I want to buy Robux"? Anyone heard of Robux before? All right, so we will delve into some of these things and try to explain how everything connects to the future of money and wealth creation. But before we go into tech, let's just start with real estate. I think Nigeria is currently at an inflection point where, the exchange rate is going haywire. People don't really know what to invest in again these days. But we do see the real estate sector growing. Real estate GDP is now about 5% of contribution to GDP is about 5%, and growing fast. So a lot of Nigerians are also getting into real estate, and no other to give us insight into, how we can invest in real estate in this digital economy. So, Grace, I'm going to start with you first. How did you start your real estate business in, an increasingly digital space? And, considering how difficult it is to raise capital, how would you, explain to people here, if you wanted to go into real estate in this digital world, how would you go about it?
Thank you so much. First of all, I'll start by saying a very big thank you to the organizers of this program. I hold each and every one here in a very high esteem. I'm also very grateful for the opportunity to share my story on this very beautiful platform. And once again, I want to say 2022 Wimbies, the excellent display was just too much. Let's put our hands to everyone that was a part of this program this year. Thank you so much for putting this together. I'm excited that today I can be seated here and talking to very high, powerful women because of real estate. And I got into real estate some years ago while I came to Lagos as a young graduate. I actually came into Lagos because I had a dream. And I think I visited Lagos a few years before. I prayerfully prayed to serve in Lagos. But when I came, the first thing that struck me was, as a copper, I was actually sent to serve in a government parasitter. So when I got there, I was rejected. They said they had too many people. And knowing nobody in Lagos, I needed to just fend for myself. I got into the space of getting a job as a copper for myself. And when I was done with that, they promised me that they would not take me as a staff because they were doing me a favor. Then after that, I had the same big dream that I needed to be very big because I knew that I had a lot of people coming from the village that would want to be here talking one day. Then I remembered that the only way to success is providing a solution. And so I looked around myself and saw a lot of people wanted to wear nice clothes they couldn't afford, of which I was one of them. And I got them bending down in the fairly used markets to get some things they call okrika. So what I did to the okrika was just to repackage it and take it away from the Katagwa market and take it to the streets of Lagos and hawk it packaged better. Then I did not forget my dream. My dream was to be very wealthy, but I knew that packaging okrika would not take me to the place that I wanted to be because I don't know how many bale I would sell to be a millionaire. So that kept me thinking of what more can I do? And so I discovered that doing more is not doing something in my environment, but doing more to myself. So I asked a lot of questions. And I say this to women, please, when you see somebody doing well as a woman, don't judge, because that can just be your next ticket to the greatness that you desire. So when I met a classmate, what attracted me was her phone. And I asked, what do you do? He said, real estate. I was actually hawking as a graduate. It doesn't matter that you're seated here today. Maybe you even borrowed the money to come for this conference and you are a graduate. I tell you, you can be whatever you want to be. So I dropped my bag that I was selling and I spent a long time asking her the questions about real estate. And she gave me one answer and told me the kind of real estate investment I should go into. So I made up my mind. I was determined to do that. And an opportunity came. Always get ready for your opportunity. With a little savings I had, because I do save, but I save for a purpose. So this is where digital, you talked about how can you do more with real estate. So when she gave me the opportunity, I didn't have all of the money. So I quickly started thinking on how to raise the money. I spoke to people and I said, do you know what? Let's come together and buy this piece of land in Lekki. I've never been to Lekki. But I believed that what I heard, that Lekki was a place that would grow. So we bought it, and in less than 3 years, we made over 500%. And so I discovered that the time I spent in hawking okrika and waking up 5 a.m., I had to back my child, was a lot of time compared to what my money can do for me doing nothing. So I got very interested. The truth is, my mindset was that anything that I needed to produce, I will not complain because the majority complain and the minority are rich. They hardly talk, but they face problems. So I wanted to be a minority, so I didn't complain. And I started to do real estate investment. I didn't drop my okrika because I knew that I could raise some funds from there. But then I thought of what can I do in real estate without capital? And it was sales. So I became an expert saleswoman. And everybody I saw, I told them about what real estate can do, what real estate is. And my first million I made in real estate, I made it as a salesperson. Then I started to do my 80 formula, 80-20, where every penny I make, I put it back in real estate. But knowing that real estate is very capital intensive, because I know that the rich has money. But one thing the rich have discovered, they don't give their money to foolish people. So I decided not to be foolish. And I decided to work for them for free, use their money to produce money for them, and demand a fee after I have produced the money. And so what I did was to make sure that when your money comes to me, it gives you value in my hand. So with doing that strategy, I discovered that money was the cheapest thing to make. Money actually gravitates towards solution. But then I needed a lot of mentors. So I started to stock a lot of people that are doing well in real estate. And that is one thing I want to encourage women to do. You must learn to serve. Once you serve, you will be served. I've discovered the young people, they refuse to serve. Everybody just wants to blow. Everybody just wants to be big. The truth is, if you blow without serving, you will unblow later. So the way I grew was that I saved for a long time. And I was not interested in having a company. I was interested in serving both the people that are doing real estate and the people that wanted real estate. And by the next question, I will tell you why I finally decided to start a real estate firm. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Grace. Interesting nuggets there. Actually, like majority complain and minority makes money. All right, incredible stuff. So we will, move a little bit into virtual real estate.
Okay, so
right?
so I'll tell you what I did, and I'm just telling those in the audience online, we may need to begin to think of solutions in real estate with technology. I started this whole journey by co-investing. So I discovered that when I started the company, it was very hard to co-invest manually. But then I was thinking to digitalize this co-investment, but still on physical assets. Because I had seen a lot of digital real estate like crowdfunding, which sometimes the projects are bigger than the founders, and they don't end up doing the projects. So I wanted smaller projects, but being digital, so that you can feel the project. So I thought of an app, which I created. I'm not the digital person, but I told them what was in my mind. So we have the first co-investment app. And while I was doing that, I wrote a book on co-investment. So now I'm able to take on a lot more people that cannot naturally afford real estate because it's expensive. Because I know what you don't start, you can never be big in. So my idea is, if I can go this far by starting this small, when you come in small and listening to me, you will become very big. And that is what I've done in trying to use digital for co-investment.
All right, fantastic. Let's give her a round of applause. All right, Uzoma, I'm going to come to you next, and let's pivot into the virtual world. I mean, she's talked about the real world of real estate. So let's now move to the virtual world of real estate. Just a little bit of data here. Transactions in the virtual world today, virtual goods is what, about $54 billion. 60 billion messages are sent daily on Roblox. $80 million GDP for Second Life was about $650 million in 2021, with nearly 80 million US dollars paid to creators. So there's a new world out there where money is being made. So could you just maybe explain to us in simple terms, what is the metaverse?
Well, I'm not an expert there, but I think the metaverse it already exists, virtual reality. And I think the only way that I can explain it in simple terms is if you take today newspaper, your newspaper is real estate, so it has limited real estate. There's so much advertisement you can put in a 40-page newspaper. But if you go online, if you go to an online newspaper, you see that there are much more adverts there. And so it means because it is virtual, there are more things that you can do in fact, the space is limitless. Now, when I think about the metaverse, I think of people doing so much more with less. People actually going on holiday mentally. People experiencing going to the moon without actually going to the moon. And for those, I've actually experienced, I have one of these VCRs, and I actually went to the space station. And before I went to the station, they said that when you put it on, be very careful, you're going to be space sick. And I thought they were joking. And I was standing in my study, and I was actually sick. I had to remove the glasses. So it just says to the power. When you think of education, and when you think of scenario planning, when you think of even training for war without actually training for war or learning, so it will bring that. The investments might be high initially, but it will bring down the cost of doing so many things, and it will actually, you can actually even imagine going on holiday to different places, whether you're coming from, whether you're an American trying to experience the African culture or vice versa. So it has the potential of actually bringing the world much closer than it is today. That's my vision for the metaverse.
All right, thanks. Still on this metaverse issue, recently we heard JP Morgan, I think that was earlier in the year or sometime last year, was one of the first major banks to acquire land in the metaverse. Ladies and gentlemen, land in the metaverse. So people are actually buying land. I don't know if you're aware of it. Have you bought your own land? They're actually buying land in the metaverse. So think about it. Imagine a world where 20 years from now, where you wear a VCR and, right, you just go into a different platform. And then there's a street, and then there are street corners, there are restaurants, and people are actually trading in there. So that is probably why you're seeing JP Morgan buy land in the metaverse. So is this something you think would likely happen for Nigerian banks, particularly fintechs, where you are one of the pioneers?
So I believe that, people like JP Morgan and many organizations, I don't know why they did it, but I would think that nobody knows what banking is going to be like in the future. But one thing is that people are going to want to do something today. And so, like my organization, our motto is, what do you want to do today? I don't know what you want to do tomorrow, but I want to be part of it. JP Morgan is taking a stake into the future, not knowing how his business is going to be in the future, but he does know that there's an interest. And that's what I think financial institutions are beginning to do these days. They are putting themselves in the middle of customers' transactions. So this is just, I think, an example of that.
All right, Abigail, mic check. Abigail, mic check.
Can you hear me?
All right, great, I can hear you. All right, so Abigail is an expert in cloud chain and blockchain, and that's also cloud technology and blockchain, mostly cloud technology. And, cloud is something that we've heard about a lot. We've heard about, people, rather than having servers, buying cloud, space. You've heard about AWS, heard about Microsoft, Azure. What exactly is the cloud technology, Abigail?
That is a really great question. And first, I'd like to say thank you for having me. Everyone looks beautiful. Now, just at a very high level, just think of the cloud as renting space for your business from AWS, Microsoft, Azure, or whatever cloud provider. Instead of having physical servers and having all that capital to build your own data center, hire a fleet of people to take care of it, that is all taken care of for you from those cloud providers. So it's essentially business with servers 3.0.
Fantastic. So Abigail, we have a lot of, you know, founders here and entrepreneurs, and they're listening to you and they're saying, "How does this help my business? Why do I need to, pay AWS or anybody for that matter subscription just to have a cloud service?"
That is also a very great question. And the first thing I would say is scalability. For example, if you're building your own app, and it gets really popular, right? And you want everybody to come to your website, everyone to be happy about your product, but the traffic is so intense, you only have 2 servers, but you really need 6, 7, 8. You can go into the cloud and pre-program it to scale on demand for you. And that redundancy and availability is what will keep your customers coming and get your brand out there. That's just one example. That would be scalability.
So let's now go to a use case. So let's assume that I, just like Grace, I run an online real estate business, and I have a lot of clients that I'm maintaining my database, and they connect with me via my mobile phone. How will the cloud technology be useful to me? How would that scale my business or improve my bottom line?
How will that improve your bottom line? Well, essentially, connecting to the cloud is far faster. You can get a direct connection, and whatever product, whether that's real estate, an application, that will go directly to your mobile app, if that is what the product is for. And there'll be very low latency based on where you have your servers around the world. So more servers that are closer to your end users means happier customers. For example, Epic Games uses their servers, AWS's servers, for the game Fortnite. Now they have over 14 billion users, and I'm one of them. Here's this mic right here, for the game. Now, if you could imagine if the players playing this game, me, myself, the game would lag, that's totally dependent on how many servers there are around the globe close to end users. So, as a consumer, if I didn't have the cloud, if the cloud wasn't there for me, lag would just be absolutely terrible. We are sadly dependent on these organizations, these tech companies. Business is information. The faster you can get it, the better results you have, happier customers, more income.
All right, thanks for that. Grace, I'm going to come to you in a bit, but let me go to you, Uzoma, again. We've seen an explosion of fintech in Nigeria. Fintech has already given Nigeria 2 unicorns, $2 billion companies, and these are companies that just started less than 10 years ago. I mean, by very young people. But for everyone here, people who actually run businesses, how has fintech actually helped them, and how do you think fintech is going to actually birth the next unicorn, not in the fintech space, but perhaps somewhere else?
Thank you. That's a very good question. I know. I like to start by saying that I think financial technology started with the new generation banks about 20 years ago. And so I remember when I came back from university, I only had, in fact, when I came back from university from the UK, and I remember as an individual, I had a card, POS machine, ATMs. Came back to Nigeria in 1992, 91, I can't remember, 92 or so. And of course, it was just, if you wanted to do a bank transaction, you had to go to a bank. And so it was back, but 20 years later, and I think with the advent of the new generation banks and also the infrastructure, NIBs, what we have seen is that we were doing so much, 20 years later, we're actually doing so much more first than what you will find in UK banks, especially when it comes to mobile. Now, what has that done? And you can see that there are more people using financial services now at a fraction of what it cost before. So if you look at now, people with financial technology, people can open bank accounts without actually going into a physical location. Before you had to do that. Today, people can even start their businesses without actually going to a bank. So they can do all that because it's not just, it's beyond the financial technology, it is the other verticals as well. And that's why your question is great. For financial technology to actually really boom and get more unicorns, you need to start looking at things like, social inclusion from the aspect of edutech, health tech, food tech, because those are the things that are going to spiral more financial technology last mile solutions, because there's a limit to what you can do with your infrastructure. If you only have 50 million people with mobile phones, then there's a limit to what financial technology can do. But if you have 100, 200 million now doing everything from going to school, ordering their food, learning, you will see a great explosion. But I mean, today it also poses another challenge for small businesses because it has now, or businesses in fact, because it has now reduced the barrier to entry. Imagine anybody can, so now you're competing with people not only locally, but globally. Because things can, today I can order from Amazon and to be here as fast as ordering from Kaduna or Abuja. So it has changed the dynamics, but it means that there are now more opportunities for people to do their main job and their side hustle, which you find, because you can do it you can start your business from your bedroom without actually imagining going to find a shop to rent or office to rent. So it has brought down the cost, and it has also created more access to customers. So when you think of all those things that businesses used to lack, access to finance, access to market, now the market is much bigger than it can be. So the opportunity is great, and I think as more solutions, and Nigeria is a place where there's lots of problems. So I can bet you that there are lots of fintech type solutions coming down the road. Now, what you need too is an enabling environment. You need your regulators, you need your legislators to all key in to make the pie much bigger than it is.
All right, so we've heard about P2P. So in today's world, I can actually lend money to anybody here without knowing who they are, right? Just using my phone. You also have contactless payments where you can basically walk into a supermarket. I think it happens abroad now. You walk into a supermarket and then you pick your items and you don't actually need to use a card. They just somehow debit you and then you're gone. So where do you see this as a major, utility or advantage for SMEs in Nigeria? Because we have a lot of SME owners here. So how will this really impact on your business? I mean, are you going to see SMEs use contactless pay in Nigeria in the next 2 years? Or is P2P going to be the next way or form of lending, in Nigeria in the next few years? We do see P2P already in the cryptocurrency market, but in terms of taking it mainstream, how do you see this happening?
Okay, I do not think that there is any innovation in Africa that is not in Nigeria today. Now, the only problem is that we haven't, so, people talk about M-Pesa and how it's the best thing since sliced bread. Now, the only reason M-Pesa, which is mobile money, by the way, is because they scaled it to over 30, 40, 50 million people. That is the reason. But when you look at Lagos is one of the only places in the world that I know that I can actually carry my phone and not my wallet and make payments because we have a fantastic payment system. Now, the challenge is how do we scale it, right? How do we get it to the hand? How do we get more people using it? Now, digital, like my definition of digital is, three things. How cashless, paperless, and now contactless. Now, the whole idea of digital is data. Capture data, turn it into information, make decisions. So our decisions. The richer the information, the faster the data, the richer and faster the data, the information, the better decisions that you will make, whether it is personal for your personal life or for your business life. And so, contactless is already here. And a good example of not being able to scale is NQR. NIPS comes out with a fantastic problem, NQR, but we haven't scaled it at all. And it always boils down to execution and collaboration of different partners. You have the e-Naira, which is, as far as I'm concerned, yes, it's another payment solution, but it is one in which the federal government, the government can use to distribute social benefits, collect taxation, and then with that data, understand exactly what's going on in the economy, and now make better decisions on resource allocation, resource allocation, and also developing the economy. And so it's already here. QR code is here. As of 2020, every bank was mandated that their cards would be NFC compliant. So what you need now is that infrastructure and the standards.
When you say NFC compliant, what does that mean?
So your card, anybody that has a bank card that was issued after 2020, when they enable contactless, you can actually tap and go, just like you do elsewhere. So the infrastructure is already there. It's just execution.
All right, so basically, if you have an ATM card that was issued maybe this year or last year, you can easily just tap it, contactless, and then pay. So let's move now to investing opportunities. Grace, I'm going to come to you next. So inflation rate 20.7%, exchange rate, please don't quote me. I heard it's about 870. Is it 900 already? So we don't know where it's going to. And there are a lot of people here who earn in Naira. So what real estate opportunities do we have out there today that anybody here can invest in?
Thank you so much. There's so many opportunities that we can invest in, but I always tell people once they start talking about investment in real estate that one thing that I discovered was lack of proper education when it comes to real estate investment. And so before I started Lifecard, that was the first thing I did, to put real estate education on platforms where people can actually learn. I have seen the exchange rate. I have seen the lot of challenges that we have when it comes to investing. But I'll still say that I still believe, and I know in the years that I've stayed in real estate, this is not the first time that we have had exchange rates. This is not the first time we have had things like this. I noticed that Andrew not pack your Nigeria go survive is actually some years back. But it didn't stop so many people to still invest. So after Andrew don't pack your bag, Nigeria go better, it's like many years ago. So somebody like me still came into real estate, and I started to build my financial future using that aspect of investment. So I do 80-20 of investing in real estate. But what I can see now is it is still the safest and better way. But you just need to have knowledge on the type you should put your money into because of inflation. So let me talk about, I was very excited about the first program I went with Mommy in Dubai, because I had a very heavy question, Dr. Awoshika, thank you so much. And I had an opportunity to ask her something. I said, I've noticed that I've scared in real estate, but I see a lot of people collect funds for real estate from some places that I think is not going to work. Because most times when I'm going to anything, I look at the beginning to the end. And I said, but I've been able to scale with one strategy that I don't really need to get funds from outside, and she said something that I took away from that conference. He said, anything that you are doing that will make you not get any funding outside of your strategy for real estate, don't even get. Because that's when you start, just increase it. So I say this to say that you have to look at the problems you want to solve when you want to invest in real estate in Nigeria. What I see is that I always see solutions in problems. In short, where you will make the fastest money legitimately is a place that has a lot of problems. So once you solve the problem, what is happening now is that it's going to be very difficult for those in the middle class or to own their home. So rental would still produce money. That's the truth. Because none of us or anyone that is putting their, will I say, faith to work to climb up the ladder will live under the bridge. So they will still look for a decent house. And the landlords will increase their rent because they also need the rent to pay their bills. So rental is going to work. I read a report from Business Day. I think Bank of Industry said there's going to be 3% economy blossoming in 2023. That means at least there will be something in the economy that is going up. So rental will work. I say just find out. When it comes to any kind of investment, especially real estate, it's not bonvita. You don't buy real estate from the chef. Get an expert. Let them look at the portfolio. See what you have, see what you want to do, and advise you on exactly where to put your money now. Because for me, it's still my go-to in investments. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Abigail. Sorry, Grace. Abigail, I'm going to come to you now for the last question before we go. Mic check, Abigail, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
All right, fantastic. Yes, so Nigerians invest across the world. We invest locally, there's cross-border investing. We're very versatile when it comes to investment. And in these days and age, you can actually stay here and then you're investing in the company for the future, right? You're probably doing it for your children or your grandchildren. You know, staying where you are right now, what sort of areas of technology do you think some of us should be, looking at investing in? Is it cloud? Is it blockchain? Is it fintech? I mean, from your experience, where would you, if you had the opportunity to tell us, okay, I had $10,000, I wanted to invest, what would be your bet?
That is a great question. It's loaded. I will try to keep it simple. I would definitely say to look at where world governments are putting their focus and their money, big tech giants. Right now, I'm focusing a lot of my attention on the underlying technology, mostly in fintech. I'm not sure if you've heard of the company Ripple. Their goal is to have cross-border remittance, instant transfer of payments across the globe with fees as low as 0.005. If you can imagine how life-changing that would be for anyone, that is just one thing that could change wealth creation entirely. If I can send someone $5,000 all the way in Nigeria for 0.005 without any intermediary, just boom, it's my money, boom, now it's to you. So I would definitely pay attention to Ripple. They're currently under a lawsuit with the SEC right now, but they are, from the way I'm seeing it, winning. And if they do win, it'll set a very clear precedent in the United States government, which currently has very washy, my apologies, very washy regulation. So if they do win that fair notice defense, it will set a very clear precedent. So again, I'd say check out cross-border remittance technology. That would be, as far as cryptocurrencies, that would be XRP and Stellar. And on the side, I would also say check out gaming. It's huge. I know we've discussed the metaverse, of course, but companies, like I've mentioned before, like Epic Games, they are highly invested in the future of the metaverse, and including Nike, Adidas, Gucci, they're also taking up real estate in the metaverse. So I'd follow where, not only where the consumers are interested, but also where these governments, big banks are investing. And some of the people that I like to gain information from, the Gartner Report, Kathy Wood, Anthony Day, and Coin Bureau on YouTube.
All right, thank you so much, Abigail. Just to recap what she just said, follow the government, follow consumers if you're looking for where to invest. And in the technology space, cross-border remittances. That company name is called Ripple. It's also a company I've been following. It's a cryptocurrency-based company. But those guys, if they win their case, they are going to change cross-border remittances across the world. And there are a lot of Nigerian companies sitting and just waiting for those guys to click. So those are important tips there from you. I think we take questions from
Thank
the
you
house.
very much,
All right.
Ugo Dre. Can we please put our hands together for our panel? Our plenary members, Uzoma Dozier, Grace Ofure, Abigail Max, who's online, and Ugo Dre Obichuku. We'll take questions. Oh, we already have one person. Good. That one person is the one question. I'm so sorry. We can't take more than one here, and it's done. We're so sorry. Maybe we can task them with taking the question online, if that's okay. But please go ahead.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. My name is Yinka Shokoya. I need somebody to please demystify the concept of the metaverse for me. I mean, it's all so abstract. And when I think of the metaverse, I think of the Matrix movies or something like that. And can you break down the technology? I mean, how exactly does it work? You talked about JP Morgan and other international companies buying real estate in the metaverse. Why? Where? Which? What?
Thank
How?
you. Thank you.
Please.
That's a very good
Thank you very
question.
much.
All right, our next question.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to speak. Actually, I was supposed to ask this question at the last plenary, but my question is directed to the Board of Trustees, WIMBYs, and the organizers. And it's all about the implementing change in women and also empowering women. My question is that, is there any form of NGO that is reaching out to the less privileged to be able to have the opportunity to attend this training? This training has been of great benefit to me. Okay. So we have people in our communities over there. I'm actually representing, I'm a delegate of NLNG RA ladies from Bonny Island, River State. We have people that are out there.
I think we get the concept of what the question is. I apologize, I have to cut you at this point. We're going to answer your question, but that question cannot be answered by anyone on this panel. When we come back,
my chair lady will continue with that. Okay.
All right, thank you very much. We have some questions online, and I'm just going to take one. This is for you. This is from Gloria Idiahi. She says, there are a lot of fraudulent/fake real estate practitioners. Do the real practitioners have a platform that anybody interested can invest in real estate without fear? So I want you to please answer this as quickly as possible.
All right, okay.
So that question, I want to first say thank you for the question, but that question is very tricky. Why I say so is, you might not really know who is fraudulent when it comes to real estate investment. But what I think you should do is to check the track record. And that is why you need a bit of real estate education. Because like one of the courses I actually provided on my platform is the 5 things you can notice from afar. There are 5 key things that when you're talking to, whether it's a real estate developer, you are talking to a salesperson, these 5 things, you can hear it from their voice. And the first thing you will hear from them is the urgency to collect your money. So once you get into trying to invest in real estate, and all you can see is this urgency to collect your money, for me, it's a red flag. So I know that a lot of people try to say, Grace, why do I need to take this course before I give you the money? I do that because I think that sometimes you don't even know what you want. So taking just like a 2-hour course will help your mindset. So you understand exactly what you want. Because sometimes these people actually go into this because of the pressure. So somebody comes to me and says, Grace, I have $500 million. How many percent will you give me in 1 year? And I say, I'm not MMM. So, but some real estate developers will take the money. So you need to understand it. You need to get anywhere your money is going to. Your heart should go there.
Okay.
Find out some information about who are the people behind it. And you know, as a woman developer, I will say this. I actually started a lifeguard because a lot of men, it's a men-dominated environment. So I noticed that one of the things they were doing is when you say this, but you are doing this, they will just look at you. I married somebody like you at home. So I just wanted to make sure that a woman can do it better than them. A woman can say, a house will be ready in 2 years, it is ready. A house will be ready in 3 years, it is ready. Because one thing that I know about women, at least their integrity level is high. A man doesn't have so many, I'm sorry, man, they have this strong heart. A woman can do something and get back home and just seeing the child cry and feels that this person can be my child. So that is why I came, and I was looking for who is the biggest developer female in Nigeria. I didn't see. So I am one of them.
Love it.
Yes, when the Redan was giving awards, which is Real Estate Development Nigeria Association, out of 12 people, I was the only woman. And that is why I'm mentoring women. Come and learn development. Do development. Let's tell the men that we can do it excellently well. We deliver at what we say, and we come back with better testimonies. So don't be carried away. You don't want to invest because there are no nice people. Just look better. We still have some very good developers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just a quick follow-up question with her. From the last question from the virtual scene, my question is directed to Grace. What's the name of your app and how can I gain access to it?
It's called Lifecard Co-Investment. A lot of people have said, why did you call it Lifecard? I actually called it Lifecard. Real estate is a game. So sometimes maybe you are here, you're not making money from real estate, you are playing in the wrong place. So life is expected to grow. So we say we are playing cards, but the card has life. So Lifecard Co-Investment. That's it. And you can come in with little or not so much. Just start and believe in yourself. Very soon, like I was thinking, will I ever own a house in this big Lagos? Now, I don't only own homes, but own estates. So you come. Don't think of how it's going to happen. Stand up, take that step, start. And you might just be the next person that Wimbis will call to come and talk.
All right, fantastic. All right, so I think, Uzoma, you're going to respond to this question about demystifying the metaverse. I mean, we're out of time, so quickly. But before you do that, I just want you guys to write down this movie, okay? It's called Ready Player 2. Just write it down. At your spare time, maybe go on Netflix and watch it. Ready Player 2. Ready Player 2. It's just going to give you an incredible insight into what the metaverse might look like. So, Uzama, over to you.
It's a great movie. I've watched it about two or three times. So I think I'll just give an example of what the metaverse is. So imagine in 2 years' time, there's another COVID pandemic, and Wimbis wants to do, God forbid, Wimbis wants to do this conference again. So they would create, so the metaverse is a computer-generated environment. That's what it is. And so they would say, okay, everyone, go and get your Halo glasses, and then you would now create this hall exactly as it is, and people will have their seats. So you'll be sitting in your living room or in your house, but you'll be feeling the same environment and everything with there. So you will feel that you're actually in this room. And so that's what the metaverse is. So you can create as many environments as you have, as long as it's computer generated. And like the story that I said before, you feel the laughter. So you're also connecting your emotions to that environment.
Uzoma, can I ask a question? This conference that we're planning to do in the metaverse, who will be the MC? And where will the MC be?
Virtual MC. So the MC will be in his house wearing the VCR, and as the MC is moving, as the MC is gesticulating, as the MC is smiling, his avatar in the metaverse will be doing exactly her avatar. We'll be doing exactly the same thing. That's the metaverse for you.
Okay, how do you buy land in the metaverse?
Aha. You have to sneak that in. So it's very easy. There are cryptocurrency-based platforms where the metaverse is being sold. So if you're familiar with buying cryptocurrencies, all you need to do is go into one of those platforms that offer different metaverse. But before you go in there, the same way the land value in Banana Island is different from the land value in some remote place in my village in Imo State, right? Metaverse is also like that. So you also have to cherry pick and look for a metaverse that would likely be a place where there was going to be a lot of engagement. So think of a metaverse where a lot of gamers come to. So where gamers come to, the gamers will probably want to feel like they are in a hotel. So you buy a land near where the gaming place is. Then somebody wants to come and buy that land from you in the metaverse and build a virtual hotel. That's basically where it's going to. Someone might want to build a virtual house. Someone want to build a virtual car park. So if you own that real estate in the metaverse, that's incredible money for you there. Thank you.
Can I ask one final question? Are we going to be able to eat in the metaverse? Do they sell food? That's the one that concerns me.
Oh, yes. So, in fact, I think companies like Starbucks are already buying land in the metaverse and also building their own metaverse. So, think about it. You're a gamer and you finish playing games and you want to take coffee. You simply go to the metaverse and then you take coffee. Exactly. Your avatar is what's taking coffee, by the way.
Wow. Abigail wants to say something to this.
Of course, Abigail, go ahead.
Oh, hey everyone. I just pretty much wanted to close and say that if you are interested and you identify as a woman and you're interested in a mentorship program in the cloud or within blockchain, I could recommend She Builds with AWS and the Frankfurt School of Blockchain and Management. I'm an alumna of both, and feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I would be very honored to help anyone get started with those programs. And final statement to leave with everyone. In 1995, Bill Gates was interviewed by Letterman. He was ridiculed for the internet. Today, he's a billionaire, and I personally believe that that is what's happening again with blockchain, the metaverse, and Web3. So just don't give up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause once again for our plenary members, physical and virtual.